This notion of when you want the best for everyone, when you want to uplift, it's a very transformative approach. That is what love is about. So even though Martin Luther King Jr. may not have liked these people who bombed his church, he wanted the best for them. He wanted all people to be uplifted. He didn't want to replicate this paradigm of us versus them, that now my enemies all get to crush them after they've been crushing me for so long. True love is about uplifting all people. And so that is the core of transformative action, and that's incredibly powerful, and that's why it goes to forgiveness. I mentioned a few weeks ago, I went on this trip around the world with 700 college students called Semester at Sea, and one of the places we went was South Africa. South Africa is amazing for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is they have this whole Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Bishop Desmond Tutu wrote a brilliant book called No Future Without Forgiveness. And the idea is, after the racist apartheid regime was deposed and they had democratic elections and Nelson Mandela became the new president of a free and democratic, multiracial South Africa, instead of saying, we are going to punish and destroy the people who are oppressing us, they said, we want to reconcile with them. We want to forgive them. We want to have amnesty. We want to, if we start oppressing the white minority, that's not the kind of democratic South Africa that we want. And they said, we're going to do a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, that if people admit to their crimes and admit to what they've done, they can get amnesty. Well, when we were in South Africa, a number of us went on this tour of the Amy Beale Foundation. Amy Beale, some of you may know her story. She was a young woman from Stanford. She got her undergrad degree at Stanford. She grew up here in the South Bay. And then she went on a Fulbright to South Africa around the time that South Africa was transitioning from this racist apartheid regime to a democracy. And she was working in one of the poorest areas of Cape Town, South Africa, and she was murdered by 4 South Africans. So her parents went out there and established a foundation in her name to try to build reconciliation and forgiveness in the society. And so we were being shown around by her mother. Her mother was actually out there. Her father unfortunately passed away. But her mother was showing us around, and then there was a South African who was showing us around as well. And one of the students in the group said, so what happened to the killers? Where are they now? And the mother says, you're being guided by one of them. I've adopted him. He's now my son. And now he leads the Amy Beale Foundation. So talk about forgiveness, that this notion of she was able to go so far that one of the guys who killed her daughter, she basically took on as her own son. Now you may say that this is unrealistic, that most of us don't have the power to have this kind of forgiveness, but that's what we're talking about today. When we talk about the second principle of transformative action being transform hatred into goodwill, transform conflict into collaboration, transform enemies into allies, how do you do that? Gandhi famously said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. But how do you do that? As I've mentioned before, I've been in lots of nonviolence training sessions, and I've learned a lot how to get arrested. You go limp and whatever else, you get dragged out. And I had never been trained in any of these sessions of how to become more loving, more compassionate, more altruistic. How do I become the change that I wish to see in the world? That's what I was interested in. So transformative action is more than just updating nonviolence and giving a new term to nonviolence. Transformative action is actually built on the science of positive psychology.